Oh, really? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Simply Together show. Look, it's sunny.
It's sunny.
It's sunny and there's blue sky as well. It is lovely. I don't know if it's cold because I haven't been out, but it's sunny.
Cold. It's cold, but it's sunny.
Okay.
But it's not bitterly cold like it has been.
Good.
It's not bitterly cold like it has been. Yeah, I was out. I got to work really early. And I thought, I'm going to go for a walk quickly. And yeah, it was lovely.
How did you get to work so early then?
Oh, I don't know. The trafficking. It was very strange.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It was very strange. I didn't think I'd get here earlier at all, but I did. I'm like, oh my God. So yes, the sky was blue, everything was bright, and it was quite crisp.
That's nice.
But it was nice. It was nice.
It looks nice, doesn't it? Just makes you feel better
so
when
much
it's
better.
Yes. So how are you doing?
All good, thank you. Not too bad. Not too bad. Just listening to what we're going to talk about there, and I don't know if this is even related to International Women's Day, but that chap that was sentenced yesterday for that killed his family. You know, we talked about him on the show.
Well, we're going to talk about him in a minute.
Okay, I wasn't sure. So
no, we will be.
It came up. It's come up in the office for a reason.
Okay. Well, we are gonna touch on that. But other than that, you okay?
I'm perfect, thank you. Not too bad. Good. Just getting back into the swing of things, and to think that it's. I'm just amazed at how quickly the time flies.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at that video that I shared with you. That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
And I was literally just properly back on my feet, like that, to do that type of exercise again. And the Zumba class that I've been waxing lyrical about is one of the instructor that does it was one of those instructors there on that day.
Oh.
Yeah, it's funny. I just thought, wow.
Oh, okay. So we have got Shelley in the background. She is driving home, and anybody out there on the road, get off the road, because she's going to be driving fast and taking corners on 2 wheels and stuff like that. That's how she does it. So she will be on. She will be on screen at some point. She will be on screen, and it's. I just feel quite nice because of the weather. Just the brightness. Just the brightness. Felt a little bit low yesterday, but that's partly to do with what we're going to have a quick chat about, which we might as well then just get into. So, the way I view it is that I am a Lutonian born and bred, and I'm quite precious about the town that I live in and the people that live in it. And we have there's been lots of things, and nobody needs to then message me and say, well, there's other things that have gone on and other people have been hurt and blah, 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 blah. But we've had 2 things in the last, 6 months, which have really had an impact on the town, but also people that I know. People that you know, people who we literally know, have been affected by these 2 different incidents. And obviously yesterday was all over the news, all over social media, with regards to Nicholas Prosper, who, murdered his family. don't know if I
It
like that
depends on
word.
how you want to. I mean, that is what it is, isn't it? But if you want to,
Yeah.
you're trying to find the internet word. Some of them say unalived.
What do they say?
Yeah, they say unalived. They're unalived. That's the internet language for any
Is
form of.
it? Oh, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Okay. I
So
didn't know that. So that's a new one for me.
yeah.
But ultimately, he was in court yesterday, pleading, which I think is absolutely brilliant, because it means that they can just deal with that whole situation, as opposed to a lengthy court case because the person hasn't pleaded guilty, and then you've got to go through everything, which is just even more trauma for the family involved.
Yeah.
I think it's because I think people do. I hope, and this is most probably the therapist in me, I hope that he is getting the support that he needs. And I just put that out there, and I know people may not like that, but he also
Well,
needs.
it's interesting that you should say that, because that's how it came up. A friend of mine um, um, said, "Oh gosh, she's really worried." I'm like, "What are you worried about?" They said, "Well, did you see the news yesterday?" And I'm like, "What news?" Because I decided I don't watch the news. What happened? And basically, based on everything that's come out in the news, they've got a letter from their school and saying exactly what you have said there, but also there's the additional bit of where obviously they pled guilty, and apparently they had a gun and they had the intention of going into a school with it. And I was questioning, well, why did they need to send that letter? Because all that is going to do is put distress on people. And but they were saying it's because they know that people would have heard it on the news, and like you mentioned, across social media and things like that. But I'm thinking, but yes, but the guy has been apprehended. He's not in a position to do that anymore.
But I think the point is, so for those who don't know, and I would presume everybody knows by now, or everybody who lives in Luton who has read it will know that the intention was to go to St Joseph's junior infant school with the gun to do whatever. Okay. And I think that made me feel worse than anything, because my children went to that school. I have family members who work at that school, and most probably loads of kids there that I know, or I know their family. And that was really scary. That was really scary. Why did they inform people? Because it's going to come out, isn't it? In the court case, it's going to come out. So that's most probably why they had to do that.
I suppose so, but it's just when I just look. So with that particular person that I was speaking to, obviously they've already got an issue where their child at that school was being bullied. So, or well, was bullied, not was being bullied, was bullied on a couple of occasions by a particular person. And I just think when your nerves and antenna, obviously your monthly antenna is already heightened up there. To me, I just thought that was just an added grief, and I get it, but I don't know. Maybe because of the, I just feel that it's also adds to fear mongering,
Yes,
and
it
then
does.
also it then also detracts from the fact that yes, what that person did was very heinous and horrible and unthinkable. But like you said, what leads somebody to do something like that? They obviously there's something wrong with them and they need support. But instead,
They
I
do.
just feel like um it could just whip up a mob.
Yeah, yeah. But I think in a situation like this, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you
Damned
don't.
if you don't, yeah.
So if they hadn't have shared that information, that there was intent and that was the school that was under that intent, if they hadn't have shared that and it came out, then they would be wrong for not sharing it. They have shared it and they're wrong for sharing it, because actually it just makes people feel 10 times worse.
Yeah, I
I
don't
don't know.
even know that
I
they're
don't
wrong.
know.
I'm just curious as to why. And I can see both sides. And obviously, I went
Maybe,
down the route of when I was speaking to this person, I said, look, at the end of the day, like your child's probably more at risk of that person who has the potential to be bullying than somebody going in there with a gun.
and that's the thing, isn't it? Because actually, for the teachers, for the pupils, for the parents, there's everyday stuff that goes on. So there's everyday stuff like somebody's being bullied, or somebody needs some extra support, or somebody's not in because they're poorly. So there's everyday stuff that is still going to continue. So they've gone to school today, and there will be this, and this that head teacher has to deal with. Or the head of year has to deal with. You know, there's all those things that are still there. And adding this is most probably going to make everybody really scared.
Yeah.
But if you didn't tell them, then they would be up in arms, the fact that nobody told us.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. But I think none of this is good, obviously, because 3 people lost their lives. Juliana, Kyle, and Giselle, they lost their lives. So none of this is good. The fact that there's a guilty plea means that that family doesn't have to go through the stress of a court case. So for me, that is a really good thing. And
I agree.
That's happened for them, because that's just more trauma on top of trauma. So, and the fact that now people are worried about school, and particularly that school, again, if nothing was said, they would have found out, and then we'd all be up in arms. I'd be up in arms. Why weren't they told? They should have been told. Now they have been told. It's like, oh no, why have they been told? It's going to be a 50-50, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, some people are going to say they shouldn't be, some people say they are. But that was what I was feeling yesterday evening. Felt very like, oh, that's horrible. And at the same time, I'd been talking to somebody about Diane Cleary, who was murdered. Again, it's that word again. It's that word again, isn't it? In September. And again, that's family members and friends that we as a team, as a Simply Together team, as a Simply Deez team, are very close to. And that's brought up such a lot about violence against women. That is a family and a friend group that are in turmoil. They're mourning. Diane lost her life on the 20th of January. So you're just into a new year. Literally just into a new year. And somebody has lost their life. And we've got International Women's Day coming up next week. And something that I didn't know, but I now do know, that there's, let me just put that up there. So, 18th annual Million Women Rise March and Rally. I didn't even know this was a thing. Maybe I'd just been walking around blind. I don't know.
I didn't know it was a thing, but I'm not surprised. Because it's slightly political but related. So I have just started listening to a podcast that's based on a book that was written by Philippa Gregory. So Philippa Gregory does fiction, but it's based on reality. So like she did a lot of stuff about the royal family and stuff like that. You know, like the Princess in the Tower, all of that type of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so this podcast is called Normal Women, and it goes back to, oh gosh, is it the 16th, 17th century? Basically about how they've gone from being a man's property to stuff that they've gone through, right up until obviously when you had like the suffragettes, the anti-suffragettes movement, and marches. So there were two particular there where they had done these marches against the way they were treated, as in stuff that had happened where, oh, that's right, they wanted to put taxes on them. Bear in mind that they belong to men.
Already.
Right? They belong to their men. They belong to their father and then their husband. And if those people were not there, probably their brother or male cousin. And then they wanted to tax them. Make that make sense in any time. And so they did all these marches. They did these things. There were riots and stuff like that. But the reason why I think it featured on this podcast was because when you actually go back and read it in the general history, those marches and those things that were overturned are attributed to, shall we give a drum roll here? They're attributed to these two men. I can't remember their names, but I didn't really care to know their names. I just thought, these women did all of these things. Obviously, that thing kind of fretted out when they lost that ability to do that. And it was fretted out almost as if they went away with their tail between their legs, but the movement was attributed to these two men.
Of course. Did I say that too quickly?
No, but
of course it would be.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I find it absolutely amazing that this Men and Women Rise March has been going on for 18 years and we didn't know about it.
Yeah. But it is happening on the 8th of March, and it's a protest for male against female violence. And again, like I said, there's other things that go on. There's other forms of violence, but this particular one is about male against female violence. And it's, I don't know, we might need to jump on this a bit more because we're seeing this and hearing this. It's just increasing. It's just increasing. And I don't know what the stats. Do you know what the stats are, Shelley? Shelley's back in her house now with her hair done. I can see it. There you go.
Oh, check you out.
Look at her.
It's not very often it's straight.
Today.
If you look at the website that I've just shared on there, it's got some of the pictures of previous marches that they've done, because this is now the 18th annual one that they've actually then done. They don't really kind of go through stats on here, because what it's basically showing is that it's the violence, some of it domestic violence at home. We're then talking about like stalking, harassment, sexual assault, all that kind of domestic violence, all that other stuff that then kind of goes on. So whether that's then coercive control and all that kind of stuff. So you can't really put a stat to anything that they're kind of saying, because you've got the general stuff, like 1 in 4 will experience sexual assault as an adult.
Wow.
41% girls.
1 in 4
women will class that as a sexual assault as an adult. The 41% of UK girls aged 14 to 17 in an intimate relationship experience some form of sexual violence from their partner. So at the minute, it's actually people are actually then getting younger.
These are getting worse as well.
What is a norm? I don't know. So one of the stats that he does put on here, that it's over the last year, at least 1 in 12 women in England and Wales, so that's the way that they actually then do the statistics, that's how it comes up, would have been subjected to male violence, including stalking, harassment, sexual assault, and domestic violence. And the perpetrators of this violence are getting younger.
Mm.
So 1 in 12 women have had something come from men that they've actually then gone and reported. So it's all these women that don't report it as well.
Yeah. And that's got to be a high number.
I mean, if you was to sit around in a group of girls and a group of ladies, if you was to add in a conversation about just general crime, would rape come up as they're more worried about rape than any other crime? Or would they be more worried about just this generalized harassment? Because you could also then say some of these statistics could be like forced marriage, for instance.
Yeah.
We've got all of that kind of stuff it's still going on.
Mm.
Some of it is that it's an arranged and it's fine, that it's they agree with it and they see the right in it. Because yes, sometimes that still does work. Like you've arranged and it's up to the woman to decide whether they're going to marry or not, or up to the man if they want to decide they're going to marry or not.
Yeah.
It's just that it's been that introduction. I still see that, and that works. That really, really does work. But you still got some of these forced marriages that are going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I've just literally, that's made me feel quite sick at the minute. I've just scrolled down their webpage because it's got a never forgotten bit on here, and it's to do with like the violence against women and girls. Nearly 90%, that's 90% of local authorities do not have a rape crisis centre.
90%.
That's what they're stating on their website.
Wow.
I know the Luton Bedfordshire ones are difficult to find the information on, but it is there. They are there. They try to name it something different so it's safer, but it's more comfortable. Yeah. But really, you need to name it as it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. We were talking about a little bit about that, using different words for different things. You do.
It's like the word. People don't use the word suicide. I know you were saying earlier on, Nikke, the unliving of someone. The unliving of it's the buzzword at the minute that
it's annoying.
If someone takes their own life, it is called suicide.
Unalive themselves. Yeah, exactly.
The buzzword that the kids are using is unliving, and it's yeah.
It's because what happens, to be technically, a part of the technical reason they use it is because if they use the correct words, the algorithm doesn't know whether they are just talking about it, whether they're glorifying it or suggesting it. So it gets taken off. So you will see it's a lot where they will change everyday words. The words we're talking about, like suicide, murder, all of those words will be changed. Rape, they would say grape, they'll put an asterisk in the middle of the screen, and stuff like that. But now, as we're talking about it, like where you're saying that these perpetrators are getting younger, it kind of makes me think that when we do that, we are actually aiding by minimizing the impact on exactly what these things are doing, because we're not saying it as it is. You know, because those words are quite harsh. Suicide is a murder. They're very harsh words, and I think they will make you stop.
It's a realistic word. Yeah, the thing of it being the internet. It's not just the algorithms. It is when you say certain words, it's certain things will come up that will try and then say. So if you was to put suicide in on a web browser, quite often it will come up and it will say, "Are you okay?" And it will give you help pages first. The thing with the male violence thing, if it's younger, I'm just wondering whether things like even like Reddit, you can get free porn on Reddit, 15 seconds of free porn, but it will be this not realistic stuff. you could see anything and everything that you would want to, but that is not the way.
But that's
human bodies would actually work. So
exactly.
you would have things like this sexual violence against one another. If they believe that is how a relationship is, that is how you have sex, they're then going to get that wrong. But they're finding it anywhere and everywhere. Whereas going back to my NTL days, it was that we would have people phoning through to say the porn channel always used to have like that freebie bit. And if there was a fault with the freebie bit, people used to phone in and complain that they didn't get their freebie bit because you couldn't get on the internet. You couldn't get all this free stuff. You'd have to pay your 15, 18 quid for your porn channels. But now
it's there. It's all free,
and you can find it.
Yeah. And the thing is you know, so they'll ask for your age, and you just make up an age. You just make up an age, and there you are. There's work that I work with young people. I work with 11 to 25s, and for some of them, their understanding of what a sexual relationship is all based around what they've seen on a porn channel. And girls are really getting caught in the middle of that because
they don't want to get pulled out by it.
And they think that they have to do that. They also think that they have to do that. That's how you stay in a relationship, is by giving that other person everything that they want. You know, that's the way they seem to think it goes, and actually it's not. And I think what we as in the general population are doing is we're now breeding children that are no longer children at 11, 12, 13, 14. And I'm sure that's where that violence comes from. Where I'm struggling with the words today, because it's just such a topic that where does a teenager decide that they are then going to hurt the person that they're with, or even kill the person that they're with? Where does that even come into it?
It's a tough one, because now what you've said there just reminds me of that case that was in London, where this girl, she split up with this boy, and that was it. And she thought it was done. And she was
the girl on the bus.
Was it on the bus? Was she on the bus? And then the guy came on there and literally just stabbed her. Yeah.
What was she, 14, 15?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Where is that a thing? Where is that? You know, you've then got a teenager who's come out of their house with a knife to then go and do this to that person because that person has ended the relationship.
I can't stand that with that girl being with someone else. So no one else is going to wait for her.
Yeah.
There was the one that stuck with me was last year. I think it was during the summer holiday. It was during a school holidays anyway. That, think back to our time at school at various different times. That if you fell in love with one boy, if you was with one boy and you went to go out with the other boy, how many times would you then say sort of, oh yeah, he wasn't any good, and and the boy that you're currently with wanted to have a go at the one that you've just left? Yeah, it's got nothing to do with that, lad. It was because you've left him and decided to go with someone else, but you've said something. We used to see it a lot when I was at school. But what happened nowadays was exactly the same thing, only the two boys fought each other and then brought knives out.
Yeah.
And actually hurt one another. One of them actually did die, but then was revived, but he's got ongoing issues because of a girl. Yeah. And it's still the same. If you broke it all down, it was still exactly the same issues, but it's escalated because they don't see the difference between.
Because there's a knife.
Gone. Yeah, a knife.
Because there's a knife
with it. Yeah.
because actually, you know, I don't know, maybe that lad who, with the girl on the bus, maybe don't know what he was thinking, but maybe he thought, I'm going to go, I'm going to threaten her, and then she's going to take me back. We're going to be back together, and I'll just take the knife with me just to threaten her.
Yeah.
If you have a knife with you, you could then use that knife.
Yeah.
How is that even a thing? How is that even a thing? But ultimately,
the two stories that were going on at like now. I mean, the one that as of yesterday, so it would have been a hearing in court that either side would then put their case forward. He's then decided to go with the guilty plea. So yes, you don't actually then have a proper court case. But at any point in when they were showing what information they had to each other's side, it would have come out as to what school.
Yeah.
Now, in America, because I watch a lot of court TV, in America, they could have fought and said that he was wanting to go to a school, but not mention the school. But we don't seem to have that over here. It's like that's the information given, so that's the information that's going to come out in court.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary when you then know what school he was going to go to, but then that then goes back to his ideas at the time of what was happening.
Yeah,
of something ongoing to actually have that thought about your family and against someone that's not even like what's going on now. So some people it's literally, oh, I've just left school, and it's then attacking the school. Some of those American ones. This is then like almost like he's then thought about what's been happening way back. For being a younger school, they just then shows that if you're not in the right way, whether drink, drugs, anything like that was involved, you just don't know. And I can see it from both sides that yes, they then decided to approach all schools and say we are aware of this situation and we know we'll try and step up things. But it also then does create problems as well.
Yeah, it does. Which is what Nika and I were saying.
Yeah,
there is no right, there is no wrong there, because whatever you do is going to be something different to what somebody else would like.
Yeah.
And that's why I also said, you know, I hope he is being supported, fully supported. You know, yes, what he's done is absolutely awful, but he still needs that support. And hopefully he's then getting that. It's
the trouble is when you I don't want to make this about me, but when your brain is not right and you start having odd feelings and you have no control, it's surprising what you think of what you could do, or what you have to stop yourself from doing. I've got loads of loved ones around me. When I was in one of the states that I got into, I was just angry at everyone. I could quite easily have thumped hell out of everyone around me if you came too close to me. And that is not me. Violence. Although if you then to say it to a couple of my other friends, I then realise I've now said that. I have actually been in a state before where I've been kicking someone as I've been walking and actually having a go at someone. But it's not me. I got a bit stroppy.
But now we need to be wary, because now she's owning up to lots of different things. But I can see where you're coming from, because actually when there's things going on in your head and you are feeling a certain way, that's where you can go. Because people will say, I don't understand why that person did that. Well, that person may not have understood it either.
No.
And they may not,
but the people left behind though
are the ones that have to deal with that.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just being a bit of a devil's advocate here because I understand exactly what you have said, Shelley. I actually said that because you said something similar before, and I was actually said that to somebody the other day because it came up in discussion. But I'm just going to flip it and I'm just going to go into old-fashioned, we don't think about mental health mode. The people that are left behind that are now going to be mopping up the grief and the anger and the distress of what's happened, are they obliged to take that on board to understand that this person might have been going this or that? Because the bottom line is that those people are still not here.
No, because I said it's most probably coming from me as a therapist to make sure that he's getting that support. Do other people have to take that on board? No, not at all. Not at all. They don't have to. They can feel whatever way they want to feel.
It's really hard, yeah. I understand that, but it's just so sad.
Whatever happens, he needs some support of some description. You know, can you just throw somebody in prison and then you just leave them to it? Possibly not, because there's things going on there. So there does need to be some support there. But ultimately, yeah, does everybody have to take that on board? No, they don't. They have lost their loved ones. That family has been torn apart, just like Diane's family has been torn apart, her family and her friends as well. You know, will people have to take on board what that person did? No, they don't have to, because what they're dealing with right now is that grief and that anger and that sorrow, everything that they're feeling around that individual not being there and the way they've been taken as well. So
I think with both cases as well, you've got strong mums there.
Yeah.
That's then both strong people that are in the community that help, and that's what hurts more as well. So
yeah,
both those women in a situation where it looks as though they were protecting.
Yes. Yeah.
And being strong women like that. And I think that is the only thing that you can actually take from something like this, that it is to highlight and to honour those women wanting to do what they were doing. I think that's the only thing that you can take from it, that doesn't help the heartache. It doesn't help in any kind of grieving situation, no matter how that person's been taken. It's just that this has got a load of both of the stories have got this load of crap all around it because of how it happened, and it didn't need to happen.
Yeah. Okay, so reason why this has all come up is because yesterday there was starting of the court case, and plea was put in. You've also got with the loss of, again, Juliana, Carl, Giselle. We've also got Diane as well, Cleary. These are people that have been in this community. They live in this community. They are part of our community. So it's kind of just remembering them. And then obviously on International Women's Day on the 8th of March, there is the Million Women Rise March and Rally. So have a look, people. Just have a look. If you want to go along, there's lots of information there. And as Shelley was saying, there is a bus. Yeah. As in, when you're down there, if it's getting too much for you, the walking or whatever, you can then jump on the bus. It's like you just go, I'm just going up the road to jump on the bus. But there is a vehicle there if it is getting a little bit too much for you, there's a double-decker bus, and it's there. And this is all about the women that have lost their lives, also about women who have been subjected to violence, domestic violence along the way, and it's about making sure that people are not forgotten.
Yeah.
So International Women's Day is coming up. We've got our event on the 9th. We are sold out. You snooze, you lose. Snooze, you lose. If you haven't got a ticket, oh well. We did tell you needed to hurry up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you're missing out. You're missing out. But what was it you asked in our info, Shelley, about women?
Yeah, so because we were talking about sort of anything that was happening on, like, with those 2 cases, and we were talking about women getting together and doing this rally thing, who in your life, because you've got Mother's Day coming up, we've got International Women's Day coming up, what women in your life do you want to honour? We've got to be doing this when people are still around us. But it could be also someone that's then passed that made a huge impact in your life. I mean, I've got 2 to kick it off. One of them, my mum, and the other one says, "Oh yeah, it's always your mum," and everything else. My parents moved down to Weymouth from Luton with no friends down there that they knew, really. They started off in a static van 6 months of the year, just to make sure Weymouth was going to be where they were going to live. Mum is into brownies anyway. She was a brownow up here, so she got into guiding. So she made some friends that way. But they decided to live down there. Mum and Dad were together down there for, I'm thinking 10 years for some reason. And then Dad died. Now, Mum doesn't drive. So she's in the flat on her own. She's made some friends, but she decided to stay there. She decided to stay there on her own. None of us lived down that way. So we've all got a 3-hour journey to get to her if anything was to then happen. But she decided to stay on her own, even though that she's had a stroke now and is blind on one side. She still lives down there. She's got a better life down there than she has up here, but she's not with any family, even though we've got quite a large family. So for her to be with a man from when she was 16 years old, lose him but still stay there is just amazing for me. And then the other one, I suppose I've got to say it, our Rita.
I knew it. I was going to say the same. Our
Rita. I met her, would it be 7 years ago? When I volunteered to work alongside them when they were doing the Relay for Life. So it's a bit like Race for Life for Cancer Research UK, but Relay for Life is when we do the 24-hour walking, relaying. So you camp over, but we fundraise all through the year. So I first met her there. She didn't have cancer at the time, but she had cancer in the family. And we just stuck being friends then. Unfortunately, now having her own cancer diagnosis that started off as a rare sarcoma of the lung and having quite a lot of her lung removed, to then it coming back and then came back again and in her liver, to then it still being there and now being classed as long-term cancer patient, because the whole thing of not having surgery or having surgery to get rid of it all and actually then causing you problems. Yeah, so you're in that catching kind of like what's going to be the best for you. So yes, two amazing women that are completely different. But yeah.
That's funny. That's funny that because Rita is the one that came to my mind. In fact, I was talking about her to somebody the other day. And it's not so much the character per se, it's just the fact that she's just always advocated for people.
Yeah.
It's that thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I just think, where do you get the strength for this?
She just pulls it from somewhere, doesn't she? That's obviously there inside.
Honestly.
And she just pulls it from there.
It's the strong Irish family.
Yeah.
No.
They can. The more and more I get to know Rita, the more and more I've not met her family, but I know through videos and bits and pieces that she's definitely one of those families that you can't upset one of them because they'll all have a go at you, but they're quite happy to have a go at each other. No holds barred. Yeah.
Okay, so I've got two. Let me just. Oh, Jojo, I've actually got clothes on and not pajamas, doesn't it?
We're well out of lockdown now. No excuse. We're out of lockdown. No excuse.
So there's two people. I bang on about her all the time, and why wouldn't you? Because she's beautiful. My daughter, who's that side of the wall, is most probably thinking, "Oh God,
oh, she goes again.
She goes."
So
just literally because those who know her story know what she's been through, and she is still up, moving, smile on the face, working hard, getting promotion, doing all of that with everything that had then gone on. So for me, that is just, it's, she's got it. She's got it. That's where my thoughts go. But connected to that, I don't know if you can see this. What am I doing?
But yeah.
All right. So that lady is my grandma.
Oh.
And it's now, not when she was alive. She died when I was about 15 or 16. Not when she was alive. It's now. It's the things that I've learned over the years that make me see what a strong woman she was, which is most probably then passed down the genes, which has then hit Remy along the way. I didn't know any of this, and my mum didn't really know much of it either, but was in an abusive marriage. So you're talking, so when she died, it was about 1980, and she was in her late 70s then. So you're talking that era. She had her dinner last, and she would have what was left. Her husband would have the dinner first, and then the children, and then her. He had a job where he worked on Fleet Street, newspapers. Not short of a bubble too, but she didn't get it. She had to do the shopping with a little bit of money, and she had to make it stretch. And there's so many things that have been said over the years that I just think, wow. How did you even manage to do all of that? How did you manage to get through all of that? And that's where the strength comes in. Now, from the West Indian side, on my side, there's strength there as well, because that's a whole different life. That's a whole. When I went to Jamaica and saw that the house that they lived in first with 2 rooms and 9 children, that's a whole different kettle of fish. But this lady, I just think as the years have gone on, and the more and more I hear, I can just see how resilient that she was. So that's my other person. Nico, because I need to go in a minute.
Away with. Yeah, no, that's fine.
What are you blown away with?
No, because Shelley already said I was going to say Rita, because
right, okay.
Literally, I can't remember the context. I was actually talking to my husband. Actually, I was telling him about some, and I don't want to say because not that we'll watch this, but we were talking about somebody that had heard something, and I was just saying how like I said, it's the advocacy thing and the humour, the jokes, and yeah, I can't even describe. So it was just that. And of course, I know people always laugh when you say your mum, but I do think about my mum with the makeup of our family was, where I fit into that family, straddling.
Yeah.
And because my mum came from a really large family as well. And yeah, the house, okay, it wasn't 2 rooms, but it was still not massive for the number of people in the family. And it's just that time of how it was for women. I haven't said that. I'm going to send you that podcast. What you said about your grandma, I'm going to send you that podcast, because the episode I'm listening to now literally describes exactly what you've just said. And there's a poem that describes them. So yeah, so it is just that thing. I do always think about that. I think about all the women that went before us, whether they were in my family or even yours, because it was just hard. It was hard for women.
But do you not think, just thinking about what we've all said, I don't think it's any easier now, because actually,
well, no, because we're regressing.
we have the right to vote, we have the right to work, we have the right to do whatever it is that we actually want to do, but there is still, as the march is going to be saying, there's still that violence there towards women. So are we any better than we were?
And there's still some women that are still having to argue about their health rights and stuff.
Yes,
and fight for their children. I mean, the strongest women that I actually know, if you're saying about nowadays, is people like my best mate Amanda and all of those neuro mums.
Yeah.
All of those mums that are having to fight day in, day out with healthcare officials to actually what's right for their child that's autistic, ADHD or whatever, but then also are then getting the stares when we then go out because that child's acting a bit different. And nowadays you still get it,
because that still hasn't changed.
If Aaron's happy and he's running around, he makes a noise and it's lovely. I've heard it ever since he was little, and it's not all that often, but he makes noise, he's happy. But you still get it where people were kind of like, well, what's that?
Yeah.
And you think it's more widespread now about like all these people that are on TikTok or whatever that have got Tourette's and everything else, but we still get out and about, you'll still get those looks. So those mums have to put up with a lot as well as with their own child. And
right, so we're going to wrap up. Going to wrap up.
Good call.
And a cup of tea.
There's a lot of love there. There's a lot of love there for everybody. There's a lot of love for everybody. And like I said, you know, Luton as a whole has been going through a lot, and there's been some devastation along the way for a lot of people. But people will come out the other side, because that, again, that's what they do community wise, is they will come out the other side because the community will support them. And if you can get down to the march,
don't add to the crap, by the way, on social media.
Don't get involved. Don't get involved. Okay?
If it's got nothing to do with you and you've got nothing nice to say, then
don't get involved. And if you don't even know what you're saying is true as well, just don't say it. Just don't say it. But we will be back next week. And if you can get down to the march, then absolutely fabulous. If you just want to walk up and down your house in spirit, then that is good as well. But we've got some strong women around us.
Yeah, you guys are all amazing.
And you. Right, we will see you next week. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.